Hi everyone, and welcome to Bev's Repair Bench. I should probably actually say Bev's 3D printing bench. Today we're going to be printing some carbon fiber PLA. Sunlu actually kind of reached out on Instagram and asked if anybody wanted to try their, I guess it's new carbon fiber PLA, and I'm a glutton for punishment, so I raised my hand and said, I'll try it. So they did send this to me. I did not have to actually pay for it, but this is not going to really be a review. This is going to be more of just me trying to print with a material I haven't printed with before. To start off, we're going to have to change out the nozzle. I'm going to be using my FL Sun to print because the JG Aurora is busy and I still don't entirely trust it, especially not on an unfamiliar material. But we'll be using the FL Sun, and we're going to change to a hardened steel nozzle. Now you can use a brass nozzle if you want to, but you will wear it out fairly quickly. The carbon fiber in here is an abrasive material, and it will wear out that soft brass pretty quickly, and you'll see your print quality go down, and it'll be really obvious whenever the nozzle starts wearing out. So the first thing we'll do is get that nozzle swapped out, and then we'll open up this package and get it fed in and start printing. Okay, so I'll be doing this from a host. I print everything on the FL Sun from a host because the SD card doesn't work well. But it is really nice to actually have a really good interface to work with the printer on. I'm going to preheat our extruder. And I already have my bed ready to print. It's clean, it has a fresh layer of glue stick on it. I print a glass plate with a glue stick. I find is really good for bed adhesion. Since this is a PLA based filament, I think that we'll be okay with that already. Alright, so while the extruder is coming up to temperature, I will grab my nozzle. And I've actually tried printing with this nozzle before, and it takes a really high temperature to get it printing. Steel is not the best of thermal conductors. That's why we use brass in 3D printing, because it can get that heat from that block and transfer it to that filament really well. So we're gonna have to print a really high temperature, I think, probably something close to like 230 in order to get that stuff to flow. We will experiment with it a little bit, and once we've kind of got it dialed in, then we'll try an actual print. So let's get this nozzle changed out. By the way, please don't expect this to be anything real scientific about how I go about doing this. I just kind of fly by the seat of my pants 99% of the time anyways. So this is all going to be kind of about just the outcome of the print. Right away I can see that the texture of the filament is much different. It's almost like a grainy feel, and it's got a really flat look to it. It actually looks pretty cool. I'm used to black being like shiny and glossy, but I think that this finish I'm actually gonna like. Okay, so I have my tool holder loaded up, and I have my bed preheating right now, and the nozzle is also, since it's already hot, I'm just gonna let it hold at that temperature. I'm gonna heat my bed to 50 degrees C for this. I'm not sure if I really need it that hot or not, but I want to give this the best chance of adhesion that it can. We may also have to go in and adjust the Z offset. Sometimes whenever you change nozzles, there's very small differences in the lengths of them, and it could be enough to throw it off. I tend to run my nozzles a little high and baby step down, so I don't think that that'll be an issue unless it's a pretty major difference in nozzle length. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Okay, we've got our first layer going down. It looks like it's going down pretty well. It does seem a little thin. I did baby step up. I'm at 0.035 above normal right now. And it may also just be kind of a trick of the eye. This filament does look like it goes down with a little bit of a gray tint on the clear glass. So It's a little bit of an optical illusion going, but it looks like it's laying down really, really well. I'm printing my first layer at, I believe, 15 millimeters a second. I like to print nice and slow on the first layer to really give it a chance to lay down really well. So I'm pretty much using my basic PLA settings for this. The only thing that I did change was the actual extruder temp, and I'm a little bit hotter on the bed. But other than that, I figured I would kind of leave everything else normal and see what I needed to change from there. Well, it looks like we got a failure here. It looks like maybe the second or third layer. I've actually been going by about 45 minutes, and I'm not sure if we just lost temperature or what, but it quit extruding. So I'm gonna go into the G code and I'm gonna alter that temperature. I'm probably gonna do maybe like 240 for my first layer and then go to 230 or something. So stand by. Okay, so we're not having a whole lot of luck with this hardened steel nozzle, so kind of hate to do it, but we're gonna swap back to the brass nozzle and see if we don't have better luck with that. Okay, so the first layer looks like it's laying down pretty well. I'll see you guys in a while. Alright, so we're about an hour into the print now, and it looks like it is doing fantastic. Bed adhesion, I'm not seeing any signs of warp at all yet, so that looks really good. The layers look like they're laying down really, really nicely. Alright, so right now, this area here has a single layer of top infill, and this area here actually has two. I do have this set for 4 top layers, I believe. I just find that whenever you're going for a really clean finish on this 10% infill, it really helps to give it a nice, solid, flat finish. Okay, so before I go home, we've got an hour and 33 minutes left to this print. And you can really see, it gives us a good chance to see it's got a really nice top surface finish on it. I'll try to zoom in. Well, actually, I'll take some pictures after something. But you can see it's got a really smooth surface finish. It's not glary like a normal black PLA is. It's definitely flatter, and it's almost got a little bit of a grayish tint to it. I wouldn't just call it black. But it makes a really, really good top layer. And I mean, it's laying down so great with that brass nozzle. Oh, hang on a second, guys. Check this out. The JG Aurora has decided to finish. This is the version 2 of my portal gun. Well, it comes off the supports really well. The supports actually stick to the bed. I see a version 3 in the future. It reminds me of a dustbuster. Okay, so the print finished, and something really interesting happened. There's a big old gap right here. And I don't think that it's the filament's fault. I'm actually looking, I think that it's my fault. So I think that what may have happened was it caught in there. I could actually see some of that filament in it. So it must have caught, and it may have been held up for a little while. And then when it finally broke it off, it managed to start printing again. Ironically, it is exactly where the holes need to be. So, I mean, that's interesting. But let's go ahead and see how easy it breaks off the bed. We'll prep the bed again and start a print. Remember, this is with a little bit of glue stick on there. Not bad. It takes a little bit, but it pops off. That bottom layer is just amazing. I mean, it laid down so perfect. And you can see that all the way up to the point, I mean, you could almost find exactly where it kind of stopped at. Everything looked like it was forming really well. As far as strength goes, I mean, it feels strong. It took a lot of force to break it. This is only 2 perimeters and 10% infill. It seems a little bit more brittle. Oh yeah, I don't think I can break this one at all. It seems really, really strong. I'm gonna actually have to pull another one off of the wall to test the PETG and the regular PLA. So let's get this thing ready to go. I don't know if you can hear that in the background, but my son is with me today. I'm doing a little bit of babysitting. A lot of people get offended whenever a dad says that he's babysitting his kid. To me, you're still babysitting. It's just a word. It's just an action. It's something you're doing, you know. Alright. That's kind of my normal prep to do a print. I won't put a fresh layer of glue on it every single time. I'll spray a little bit of isopropyl alcohol on it, and I use the 99.9%. I think that it helps. If you use a lower percentage, it seems like it leaves a little bit of residue on there. But the alcohol kind of dissolves the glue a little bit, and I just give it a real gentle little wipe to kind of just reapply it. And then the alcohol evaporates as the bed heats. Okay, sorry if this is a little shaky because I'm filming it with my phone, so I'm not sure how audio is going to come out either. But we have a successful print. Little tiny bit of stringiness on there. It actually looks like it just kind of wipes off, but it looks really good. Let's see how it pops off. I don't know how I'm gonna do this holding my phone. Let's try that. Come on, you. There we go. Not too bad. Once again, a really good looking bottom layer. There's a little ridgy at the top here, but that's actually my fault. I didn't have my layer set high enough. But a really good looking print on that. I like it. I'll come back later and actually set the camera up and we'll look at stuff a little closer. Okay, so I've got 3 tool holders here. I have the one we just printed. This is the carbon fiber PLA. I have a PETG one. And this one is standard PLA. Now this one is a little bit larger, but I believe that it is going to be close enough for what we're going to do as far as testing it to give us a good basis for comparison. I do have another one on the wall. I don't know if it's even in screen. That's the same size, but it's an over extruded nightmare, and I don't think that it'll be a good candidate for this little shootout, even though it's not really a shootout. So as far as finishes go, really it's not an apples to apples comparison between these materials. I mean, obviously the PETG is a little bit more translucent. It lays down a little bit shinier, I find. The PLA, everybody's worked with PLA. We all know the finishes that you can get from there. And of course, we kind of already talked about the carbon fiber having a really flat look. There is almost a little bit gray, at least to my eyes, but I really like it. It really seems almost industrial looking. So I think the first thing we'll do is just a flex test. We'll just grab the holders and we'll just try to twist and pull and just, you know, whatever it takes to that may show us how strong these are. I'm actually going to move in a little closer for this one. I'm going to try to make this one as realistic as the other ones are. So I can feel a little bit of crackling in there, and you can probably pick it up in the mic. You know, but it's really not bad. It takes a good bit of muscle for me to do that. For the PETG, it seems like it takes more. Like I said, this is not very scientific, but it does it does have some crackling in there, and you can actually feel it flexing, and you can kind of see it whenever you move with your thumbs. The PLA, if we go back to that real quick, it actually feels like it maybe doesn't flex as much. Alright, so carbon fiber. Holy cow. Come on. I don't think I can even get the crack. Oh, there we go. A little bit, but oh man, it takes a lot. Yeah, this way, I mean, nothing. So the carbon fiber definitely feels a lot stronger. It really doesn't. This is tough. This is really, like, I was expecting a much smaller difference. I was, kind of thinking that, we may get a little bit more kind of a compressive strength on it, but, I mean, really, twisting it around, that's surprising. Another thing about the carbon fiber is that it seems, just holding it in my hand, it seems much lighter than the PETG, and, I mean, obviously it's going to seem lighter than this larger tool holder, but it more so than it should. So I've got my scale here, and I think what we'll do is I'll move y'all in closer, and we'll actually do some weight comparisons. It's gonna be a little tricky, I'm sure, because this is obviously not gonna be an extremely fair comparison, but I think it'll give us a good baseline of whether or not this stuff really is lighter than PLA. Okay, so it may be kind of hard to read the display on the camera, so I'll just say the measurements out loud too. I think we should start with our PLA tool holder. Okay, so that's 72.5 grams. PETG is about 9 grams lighter, which we can kind of almost use that as a base, because PETG is about the same weight as your regular PLA. So we could almost say that this difference is, you can attribute that to the little bit of extra material you have there. So that was 66.5 grams, and the PLA carbon fiber, it weighs in at 50 grams. I'll tell you what, why don't we really see the difference? You can tear that, so that's 0. So yes, 16 grams heavier. And guys, these were printed on the exact same settings as far as perimeters, infill, and all that. Okay, to finish this video up, would I recommend that anybody print with carbon fiber PLA? Absolutely. I think that my experience with it, if it wouldn't have been for that nozzle, would have been absolutely perfect. But I mean, this stuff, if you print with regular PLA, you can print with this carbon fiber filament. I mean, it absolutely blew my mind how well this stuff laid down, guys. As far as the nozzle goes, I actually left a really bad review on Amazon, and the next day the seller contacted me, and they are actually sending me another nozzle to try out, and I will print something else with this. More than likely I'll print a welding shield. I'm really curious to see how that's going to work out. So I may make another video on that steel nozzle, because honestly, if you're going to use this stuff a lot, you really need something that will not wear the way that brass is going to wear. I actually have the printer printing something else right now, and I actually put a new nozzle on because I found that even the 5 hours that I put on that nozzle with this filament, it seemed like it wasn't extruding the regular PLA very perfectly after that. So I went ahead, I had nozzles, I switched it, and it's printing fine. So if you're going to put a lot of hours of this filament through your machine, a hardened steel nozzle is going to definitely be a good investment for you. Other than that, there's nothing else you need to do. If I'm telling you, if your machine prints PLA, it can print this. If it prints PETG, it can definitely print this. One of the big applications that I see for this material is anywhere you can use a PLA, but you want it to be lighter or stronger or both, you can use this. One of the things that really comes to mind for me is actually parts for printers. A lot of times, you know, you want something that's as light as possible but as strong as possible, especially on your hot end carrier stuff. You know, things that like your X carriage. You want that to be light because the less mass you have there, the easier it is for the printer to move. But you also want it to be very stiff and strong. Now, would I recommend just ditching your old PLA and going straight with carbon fiber? You can do that. I do think that that would be a very easy thing to do. There's not many downsides on the end of the process as far as the product you're gonna get, but it is a little bit more expensive than regular PLA. It is more abrasive. Your consumables are going to be a little bit more expensive. You are going to still go through them, even a hardened steel nozzle. Do I think that this is a direct replacement for PETG? Absolutely not. PETG has its place. This has its place. And there are times where you will be able to substitute one for the other, but PETG, as far as having that better temperature resistance, there's times where it's going to be the material that you're going to have to use. I will definitely use this anytime I feel that I need a strong, lightweight print, and that PLA could do it if it had, you know, just that little bit of extra edge that this filament gives you. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Go follow me on Instagram. I need to thank Sunlu because they did provide this filament to me free of charge. But guys, don't take that the wrong way. This was a really honest review. I really feel that it was. And I really think this is a great filament at a great cost. And I think that anybody that is into 3D printing should have this, or at least keep this in mind to use for any application where they think it might be useful at. So I'll see y'all later.